First of all, reflections on that defeat to Derby. Why do you think we weren't so clinical and in the final third?
I think same outcome. I think, or same story as it has been at times over the past couple of weeks. I think we've got ourselves into some very good positions. We have certain individuals that probably didn't have their best night and weren't quite firing, and sometimes we do rely on that when we're going forward. But I thought the quality overall needed to improve, and that wasn't just the front four or the players that were in the final third. I thought the quality when we got into some of those areas could definitely improve. Like I said, I thought watching the game back, every time we got the ball, every time Mickey had the ball, one of the centre halves got the ball, we managed to get the ball into wide areas and into the final third with relative ease. I thought that the way we played underneath that was very, very good. And we just let ourselves down either on the cross or when the cross did come in, we maybe didn't quite get on the end of it. And I think you have some of those nights where you have a lot of possession, have a lot of control of the game, maybe get a few set pieces at the top end of the pitch, and ultimately we didn't look threatening enough from set plays either.
Jacob Brown started up front, Colby Bishop on the bench. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, Jacob scored against Swansea, so I thought it was a natural one for him to stay on the side and just give Colby a little bit of a break.
Regan Paul came back into the 11 as well. He had a real test for Patrick Aggie-Man, but he gave him a good game out there, didn't he? He got 90 minutes out of him nearly in the end.
Yeah, fair play to Regan, and I thought he was excellent on the night considering the level of opponent. And I think that Aggie-Man did have that one good chance on the break where he ended up hitting the post with his left foot. But apart from that, I thought Regan and Connor, in fairness to them, and then Connor when he came on, but I think maybe he was off by that point, kept him really quiet. And testament to the pair of them is the fact that he got substituted later on.
And Harvey Blair as well. What's the update with him? Wasn't in the match day squad.
He should be fit for the weekend.
Okay. And then looking ahead to Saturday, then QPR away, Julian Steffen's side. What are you expecting from them this time around at Loftus Road?
I think they're a side who up until the weekend hadn't been in brilliant form, but they've been playing pretty well. They've been unlucky in a couple of games, turned over by a very, very good Middlesbrough side, but they were excellent at the weekend against Leicester. Even going a goal down, I thought probably didn't deserve it at that point, and came back into the game, played very, very well off the back of that. And I thought it was one of the more impressive displays that I've seen in recent weeks from side. So they're a team that hasn't quite settled on, I suppose, personnel, maybe at the top end of the pitch. But I thought with the team that they've played over the past couple of weeks, they looked a little bit more settled, looked very, very threatening going forward, and took their 3 goals very well at the King Power. And they've got a lot of experience and a lot of good players in the side as well. So I'm expecting, as you always would do going to Loftus Road, that it's going to be a good game of football, but a tough game.
Looking at some of those narrow 1-0 defeats, obviously the derby on Monday, Hull City, Sheffield United, there's 72 shots in all 3 of those games, 33 corners. Is it just needing that moment of luck to just come and help us at the moment? Because it's just not going in the net, is it?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And if you look across those, if you look across those 3 games, the contrast in some of the shots that we've taken, or maybe some of the opportunities we've carved out, haven't been good enough. And we can definitely get into some areas and improve the opportunity and make sure we take shots with a bit more purpose and take a bit more care. So sometimes it's misleading, but I don't think it's been misleading over the past few games in terms of that statistical output. I do think we've been dominating games, particularly those 3 home games. So I think that, yes, the rub at the green hasn't quite been there for us. If you look at the Sheffield United game, we properly knocked on the door in the second half and got caught on the counter. Against Hull, we were probably even more dominant. I think we had the penalty incident where Ibu's been pulled back, which we didn't get. We got that against Charlton, and that sort of changed the course of the game. And when we have won games, those things have just fallen for us. But over the course of those games at home, we haven't quite managed it for one reason or another. And like you said, in those 3 games, I think that the performances by and large have been there. We either need a little bit of luck to go our way, or we need to create our own little bit of luck and just be a bit more ruthless and put the ball in the back of the net.
Just finally be going back to London for the first time since that week where we defeated Charlton and then defeated Millwall. The home form obviously hasn't been great at the minute, but the away form seems to be the positive. Are you looking to really keep building on that, obviously going back home for the Easter break after that?
I think so, yeah. I think that at the minute where we haven't sort of had those home comforts that we had last year in terms of the form at Fratton Park, we've reversed it to some extent in terms of what we're doing away from home. So last year away from home, we won 3 games all season, one of those very late on against Norwich, 3 away games all season. This campaign so far, we've won 4, and we're optimistic of really building upon that, and it's a good opportunity for us to do that at the weekend. So I think it changes the dynamic of the game a little bit. I definitely think at home there's a certain expectation of us playing a certain way and winning games, and sides are happy to sit back and maybe defend a bit deeper. That actually has been the case in a couple of away games as well, but I do expect it to be a bit different. I think QPR will be on the front foot. I think they'll look to take the game to us, and that's going to hopefully give us a couple of opportunities off the back of it.
Cheers, John.
Cheers.
Poor sides don't dominate half the football like you guys consistently do at the moment. Do you feel that goal scoring is the biggest barrier to you actually staying in this division?
It feels it at the moment, and I think that's been consistent throughout the season, even when we haven't been quite as dominant as we've been previously. I think in the first half of the season, when we were an okay side, we did pick up some results, but we just didn't score enough goals, and that was something that was a feature of our play from very, very early on in the season. So even I think when we took 7 points off the first 4 games that we played, the first 4 league games, we obviously we scored 1 against Oxford. That was enough. We scored 1 against West Brom. We scored 1 against Norwich, and then we scored 1 against Preston. So we weren't exactly prolific in the first part of the season when we were doing pretty well in terms of league position. And yeah, that's continued. I think the only difference now, and the surprising thing from our point of view, is that we look at certain games that we had in the first half of the season, and if you contrast the 2 games against Derby, we went away to Pride Park, and I think we came away having 4 shots, and only 1 of them with any real quality. We didn't really have that many opportunities, although we did okay in the game. And it was completely different this time around. I think on Monday night, where we did have opportunities, we had shots, we had a lot of pressure. It's not necessarily a positive, but we're not where we have been at previous times this season, and to a large extent last year, where we'll have a shot away from home, and you get the ironic cheers of we've had a shot, and quite rightly, because that's where we've been. We just haven't been in games. It's just been the complete opposite for me. I feel like we're very, very confident going into every game. We're really confident going into away games, especially, whereas we hadn't been previously in the season. And yeah, we have to capitalise on that. And I think that if and when we've put the ball in the back of the net, we look solid enough to defend leads, like we have done against Millwall, have done against Charlton. But we can't always defend for the entire 90 minutes and expect us to keep a clean sheet every game, because the quality in the Championship is so high. So I do think if we add goals to what we're doing at the moment, I think we'll completely change our fortunes.
And if you can't add goals,
we're not going to win games. It's just as simple as that. So we need to add goals. Yeah, I think that one's binary.
Yeah, don't win games, and obviously we know the outcome of that as well, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you feel that the team was addressed? The team's goal scoring problems was addressed sufficiently in January?
We did everything we could in terms of trying to bring players in, and there were times. There's always been times post January where it's looked like we've had enough firepower at the top end or had enough firepower in the side to create chances, and whether that is one of the forward players scoring or somebody else from another part of the football pitch. There's definitely times where we've looked like we've been a lot more threatening from those situations, whether that's West Brom, Millwall, Charlton. We have scored goals. So yeah, I suppose we tried. I think whether we get that right or have got that wrong, we'll see at the end of the season. I think we do feel at the moment like we're not scoring enough goals. That's down to, I think, a number of factors, and yeah, we'll have to obviously try and improve upon that as we go along.
I know the club was trying to get another centre forward in January, and that didn't happen. Is that a source of regret for yourself?
I think any time we try and sign any player and we don't manage to sign that player, we don't, it's not something that we're happy about. We want to try and hit all of the targets that we set for ourselves. It's not always possible. So like I said, we sort of tried to address the issues we thought we had in front of goal in January. We have added a lot of firepower at the top end of the pitch, or a lot of attacking players at the top end of the pitch. So we signed 3 wingers, signed Jacob Brown. Obviously, he was coming, he scored a couple of goals as well. So we did try to do that. I think if you just said, can you take every single one of your frontline targets in January, then absolutely we would have done it. But that's not always possible.
Because if you look at your squad, you've actually got a fair amount of players here who scored goals at Championship level consistently, haven't you? But not this season.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that we've probably lacked a little bit this year. Obviously with Colby, he's got 50 goals over the past 3 seasons and 2 this year, so that's been a factor. from the number 9. We've got, I know Tom has only scored 1 goal at the level, but I think he's only played about 3 games, and in pre-season was looking very, very good in terms of being a goal threat. So we've definitely missed that from Tom. We've taken obviously Murph's goals out the side. We've taken Lange's goals out the side, and in behind that, we do have players that can score at the level. Obviously, one of the reasons that we brought Connor Chaplain to the football club was because of the attacking prowess and the output that he's had at the level. So I think we've definitely got that in the building, but for one reason or the other, it hasn't clicked.
Because someone like Chaplain and Bishop, this must be their worst goal scoring record in their careers.
I mean, I don't know the facts of it, but it definitely, in terms of where we'd have liked to have been with the I guess with the pair of them, we probably would have been sitting here thinking, if you signed Connor Chaplain, you've got Colby Bishop firing and playing as many games as he's done, then we would have liked more goals.
With Chaplain, obviously you put him back in the side the other night. It's just not going for him, is it?
I think there's a couple of sides to Connor's game. There's what he gives you out of possession, the leadership aspect on the pitch, the work rate, everything that he does in terms of knitting together the way that we want to play. And then really where his bread and butter has been over the past 3 seasons, definitely in the 2 campaigns where Ipswich were promoted from League One and for the Championship, he put all of that together plus what he did at the top end of the pitch, and it was relentless goal scoring, assists, creativity at the top end. And we thought we might have got the spark back into him post West Brom. Unfortunately, he only played 1 game after that before he got injured and came out. And that's just been the little bit that's missing, and obviously everyone can see that. I think Con knows it himself. And there is a difference between us playing in the Championship and Ipswich in that side playing in the Championship in terms of chance creation, but I think that's still something that we'd really like to get a bit more out of with Connor.
I'm sure you've asked yourself this many times. How do you get the spark back into Connor Chaplain? Because he's tremendous work rate, cracking that attitude, loves the football club. It's just not happening.
I think something has to go for him. I think it's one of those situations where if something did drop and he got a little bit of luck, if that disallowed goal against Swansea maybe falls in the back of the net, we're talking in different tones to what we are today. And maybe there's that frustration from my point of view where, having scored that goal against West Brom, if he'd have stayed fit and stayed in the side, maybe something comes off the back of that, particularly in those 2 games where we score 6 goals across the 2 games. Does something drop for Chappers? I don't know. Hopefully the spark comes from a little bit of confidence because something goes well for him in a game.
The last time you went to Loftus Road last season, that was your first win, a memorable day. And this is a big game as well.
Yeah, that was obviously the first league win that we had last season, the first win of the season. It was a big relief for us on the day. Didn't play particularly well, but we did enough to get the win. And very, very different circumstances this time round. Going into the international break, everything at the bottom end of the table has really tightened up in terms of other sides winning around us and us not winning in the last 5 games. So, really good opportunity to go there and try and win the game.
Because that set you up and running, didn't it? How important was that first win last year?
It was huge for us. We had a very, very difficult opening period of games with, I think, Leeds, Luton, Middlesbrough. Then it was West Brom, Sunderland. I think for some reason, we played Sheffield United in that run as well. I think for some reason everybody thought that I think it was the 8th game was going to be the easier one, and that ended up being Stoke away where we lost 6-1. And it was right up until the QPR game that we never really recovered. We never really got ourselves going. And even after QPR, we played QPR on the Saturday. We picked up the 3 points, but we followed that up with the Tuesday night. We lost to Cardiff away from home, and it was probably one of the worst performances of the season. So it was nice to get ourselves up and running, but we just never really got going, I think, last season, probably till around Christmas time. And then once we strengthened in January, I thought for the back end of the year, last year we looked very strong for the most part. We didn't pick up enough away wins, but we still looked really strong.
With the international break after this game, is this now must-win territory heading into that?
Yeah, it feels like it. It's not. The fact is that it's not a must-win, because if we don't win it, we still have 8 games to go. But it feels like that, and I think that the right approach is to treat every game as a must-win. But certainly this one, I think it feels like the pressure's been ramped up a little bit more
because of the international break afterwards as well. And
I think less so because of the international break. I don't think that matters. I think it's the fact that we haven't won in 5, and all of a sudden that gap's closed up.
Any injury updates at all?
We will have Harvey back available for the bench, most likely at the weekend, so not ready to start, but he'll be available for the bench. And apart from that, we've got a clean bill of health from Monday night, and I don't think we'll have anybody else available for the QPR game that's coming back from injury.
So you said on Monday night that Harvey might not make this weekend. Is he responding better than you thought?
He should be fine, yeah. Should be absolutely fine. So he's trained today. if he settles down and he's okay, then all good.
Do you have to be careful with him at the moment?
Yeah, I think we do. That's why I'm sort of saying available for the bench and not to start.
And of course, you need your attacking options off the bench. You have not had too many of them really, have you? So
yeah, we've got into a position now where we played against Southampton. We had one fit centre half. We now have 6 fit centre halves, and Josh is back out on the grass as well. So there's a bit of balancing to do there, and we don't necessarily have those attacking options with the likes of Keshi, Murph, Flo unavailable at the moment, Harvey, Franco, all of those struggling with injuries. We've been a bit short at the top end of the pitch. Add Tom Willingham into the mix as well.